In this video, we're going to look at the cost structure of a typical firm. The costs analyzed in this video apply to the typical firm regardless of the underlying market structure. So this will apply to perfectly competitive firms, this will apply to monopolies, and in general can also apply to other firms that participate in, for instance, a monopolistically competitive structure or even a duopoly or an oligopoly. In particular, we're going to focus here on the short-run costs of production. What do we mean by the short run? The short run is characterized by two conditions. First condition is you have at least one fixed input or one fixed factor of production. A fixed factor of production is one that will not change as you produce more and more output. So for instance, you might be running a coffee shop and you only have so many coffee making machines. That's your fixed input, the number of machines that you have. Or you're running a pizza parlor and you only have one pizza oven. So you have at least one fixed input. You cannot buy more pizza ovens in the short run. You cannot buy more coffee makers in the short run. Another condition of the short run is that we're going to assume that no firms can enter into the industry. If we take this condition into consideration, when you do not allow entry into the market, this means that the market price will not change. Now, if you recall, we mentioned that in a competitive market, firms can freely enter into the market. That will be true in the long run, but in the short run, we're talking about a period of time where we're making a decision under the conditions that the market price will not change because of increasing or decreasing competition in the market. Now there are all kinds of different costs that we're going to talk about. Some of the main ones will be fixed costs. These are the costs that do not vary with the quantity of output produced. So this is the cost of the pizza oven, the cost of the coffee maker. Then we also have variable costs. These are the costs that will vary as we produce more output. So if we're making pizzas, a variable cost would be flour, sauce, cheese, labor. If you're making coffee, this is the cost of the water, the cups, the electricity, the coffee itself. And total cost is the summation of your fixed and your variable cost. Let's take a closer look at what these costs look like. We'll start by taking a look at the fixed costs. As you can see here, these costs, it doesn't matter if we don't even produce anything, you have to pay for those fixed costs. So for instance, you might be renting that pizza oven at $100 per month. And this suggests that even if you don't produce any pizzas, you have to pay that $100 per month. Even if you produce 7 pizzas, your costs don't change. You still only have to pay the $100 rent per month. So fixed costs do not change as output changes. This graph here demonstrates that fixed costs remain constant as output increases. Variable costs do increase as output increases. Notice though, if we do not produce anything, we do not have any variable costs. If we do not make pizzas, there's no cheese, there's no sauce, there's no flour, there's no labor to hire. But notice for this example, as output increases, variable costs do increase. Variable cost, if you plot those, here we see at 0 units of output, there are no variable costs, but as output increases, they are increasing and eventually they start to increase fairly fast. Your total cost is the summation of the two, the summation of fixed and variable cost, and if we plot that, it must lie above the variable cost, and at any given quantity, whether it's 5 units, whether it's 6 units, or 7 units, the difference between the total and the variable cost, the difference between the total and the variable cost is the fixed cost. It's always $100.